Hey everybody, this is episode 3 of Tandem Pod. I decided to do it with Olivia Monks. She's most known for her video work with the Florida Ride crew, and I thought it'd be an interesting perspective interviewing her because she is really about quality content and how it's made and how it should be made. So I wanted to investigate that and also just her as a scooter rider. So here you go. So do you want to briefly talk about getting into scootering?
I think I was like 12 and I was skateboarding since I was in fourth grade. So I must have been like 10 when I started skateboarding. And I was at a skateboard contest and a bunch of kids were like scootering outside the skate park because they didn't let scooters on the parks then. And this kid jumped over like 7 monster cans. It was like bar height back in the day and it was so sick. And I came home and I like got on my scooter and I stopped skateboarding since then and I haven't stopped scootering.
So did you like when I looked at your videos on YouTube just trying to think of questions to ask you for this, I didn't really realize how long you've been riding. Like there was like a video from 7 years ago. I thought you had been riding for like I don't know, like slightly under that, like 5 years or something. So you've been riding for a while.
Yeah, a long time. I think it's going to be like 9 years coming up here soon.
Yeah, the oldest video I could find of you was just you. That one from 7 years ago was like you full pads at the park.
Not that was mandatory, all right? So,
Was that your first video?
yeah, I think so, probably.
I mean, I think that's kind of over now, but I feel like back in the early 2000s, it was like this bizarre world at skate parks where people were watching skate parks all the time and you actually had to wear pads and a helmet.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. That
Yeah.
park like shut down now because of like having to wear all pads.
All the people finally figured out that it's probably for insurance or something. They found a loophole where you could not have to wear all that stuff. Did you have an interest in like photo or video stuff before riding, or was it because of scootering?
I definitely think like scootering brought it to my attention, like seeing the way other people put videos together and having that interest. I never like was into like films, like movies and stuff like that. I was always into like skateboarding and scootering videos. I just picked up a camera that I found in my parents' house and I just started filming my friends.
So the Florida Ride crew, I guess speaking of your friends, how was that sort of assembled? Like, did you just kind of run into those people?
Like Mike moved here and we didn't really start Florida Ride till like a year or two after Mike moved here, but Mike moved here and then we like kind of just met all the people at Payne. We met Chandler and Marcus at a scooter contest and that led us to like having more spots to go ride, going up to Clearwater and Tampa. So we just like kind of started hanging out with them and formed like a more tight crew and a more pack of filming, I guess you could say.
It's so coincidental because every single one of you lived in the Sarasota area. There are no other scooter riders in any other city. I guess Jona, but that's not even that far from Sarasota. And then there's one person in Miami, Vince.
Yeah, but it's definitely like growing. Like we went to the ISA contest this year, which, didn't really vibe correctly, but there was a lot of scooter kids there, like way more than I would have ever expected to be in Florida.
What city was that in?
It was in Boca Raton, so on the other coast, like 3 hours away from where I was living.
Yeah, isn't that just where there's like golf courses and mansions and
Oh
stuff?
yeah, just but it's like not far from Fort Lauderdale and Miami, so and then like all the other cities that are on that coast up.
Yeah, so it was just at some skate park?
Yeah, I was at this like big covered facility that has like a pump track, BMX dirt track, an outdoor skate park, and undercovered skate park. It was crazy.
So I watch a lot of skate videos from Florida, and it seems like there are a lot of interesting hidden spots, but you definitely have to drive around for so long to find them. And even when you do, it's usually not very successful. Do you ever run into it being really hard to find stuff to ride in Florida and you just kind of run out of stuff to ride?
Definitely like the past 2 years since we like have hit all the spots we've known, it's definitely been hard to find spots. We were lucky. Mike was like obsessed with going on Google Maps at school and like just finding any spot he could find that was in a skateboard video. Any little hint he had, he would go on Google Maps and like find that spot. He would sit on his like computer class all day at school. And that's how we like got most of the spots for Florida Ride and the spots that we continued to hit that no one has really seen yet.
Yeah, Mike is crazy with it. Like I remember not only when he was in school, I remember just being at his house and he would be on his computer for hours when just at night looking for spots on Google Earth. And it got to the point where he wasn't even seeing spots in skate videos or whatever. He was just on Street View walking around like all these different cities, not even in Florida, just like in Pittsburgh or wherever. He would just go on virtual walks. It was really fun to him, but I mean, I guess he found a lot of stuff from it.
Yeah, he did. He made some crazy good spot maps.
What do you think about the concentration of scooter riders' parents and relatives living in Florida, and then in turn that causes a lot of people to visit frequently? Like my parents live an hour from you, and Tom Cavillhog's parents live 30 minutes from you, maybe?
I think like Will Wesk has relatives, Smuckle has relatives. There's a few other people. I know Dakota Dawkins comes down here all the time. Tristan Miller has family down here. That's how we met. I'm so like thankful for that because I've had so many opportunities to meet so many different scooter riders because of it.
Eric Deptula has relatives in Florida too.
Yeah, in Orlando, yeah.
Yeah, it's so strange too how almost all of them are on the same coast of Florida and pretty much in the same area, like Tampa or Sarasota area.
Yep, retirement capital right there.
Do you have any influences with your filming? Like any people in specific? Any techniques you liked or videos they make? Or anything outside of scootering even?
I mean, when I first started scootering, I was really into like all the Florida videos. So I watched like TJ Gaskell's filming, like Daylando. That full length inspired me a lot when I was a kid, I'm pretty sure. I watched a lot of Arizona videos, Happy Medium, Hunter and Buster Oshaw. I really like their filming. I don't know. I really try to like just watch a lot of skateboarding. Sometimes I don't even pay attention to who's filming. I just watch the techniques and try to learn from it and not really like copy one's idea, but find a way to make it your own.
Did you ever watch the Weekentage videos by Grant and Yansura?
Yeah, I have seen those.
They were absolutely hilarious because I remember at the time they were coming out, like Alex and Tyler and I would always watch them, but I mean, I think they'd be even more hilarious if you lived in Florida and were part of that scene, because it seemed like there were a lot of sort of like local inside jokes, but they were still funny. I watched a couple of them like a week ago when I was in Vermont, and I showed everybody, and they're still funny, and they're like 6 years old. Do you think that videos benefit from having a dedicated filmer instead of people passing the camera onto each other, so each person can focus on what they need to be doing?
Yeah, I think having a dedicated filmer really helps. I mean, the videos come out better because all the filming is basically the same or has that congruent feeling to it. I think it definitely helps the riders not having to worry about having to film somebody else, because that's definitely a hassle. I'm experiencing it now, like riding my scooter more than I've been filming, trying to film a video part and like having to switch off with Michael and whoever is filming.
Like if you don't have a filmer and then you're handing off the camera and it's like you have to focus on riding and then you have to focus on making sure the camera's set up and like if it's getting brighter or darker. I mean, yeah, sometimes it can be such a hassle. Like you just don't even want to do it. You just want to ride. But I guess that's why you're there. That's the point.
Yep, definitely.
What inspired your switch to filming in standard definition exclusively?
I filmed on a DSLR for Florida Ride, so you know that. Had the extra money to get a standard def camera, and I started filming with it, and I loved it way more. Being able to zoom, having like a very wide fisheye, like the 4.3. I just fell in love with it way more than I had ever liked my DSLR camera.
Yeah.
I like the vibe of the video. It just makes way more sense to film scootering on it.
Yeah, filming scootering with HD cameras is a strange thing, because it's like when you just film it with those DSLRs, I think it looks pretty bad, and it's really hard to make it look good because those cameras aren't video cameras. They're photo cameras with a record button. And if you do get actual like HD video cameras, it just becomes such a high-end production that you have to have like an actual professional operating the camera, and you can't just hand off the camera. And then it also becomes something sort of, it's almost like corny. It's almost like We Are Blood, like the skate documentary, because it's so dramatic and super HD and,
Yeah,
slow motion and
exactly.
crisp that it doesn't match what you're actually doing. We're working on another full length for Tilt, and that's what happened. It's like we got to this point where we were trying to just achieve excellence in HD, and it just became an unrealistic thing for everybody, because the only time people could film was on a trip was when Josh was there filming. We just went so super HD that nobody could even film anything from where they were from, because nobody was able to film it at the level or have the cameras or anything. So then we were like, oh, well, we've been filming VX videos for years. Why don't we just do that?
Yeah, it makes way more sense, and it takes so much more skill to make a DSLR look good. I've seen so many videos filmed by each other's friends with DSLRs that just come out like crap because no one knows how to use a camera.
If you're just handing the camera off to your friends and stuff like that, I think the video would come out better if you were just using a VX, because it's more user friendly, and you don't have to have like a rock hard steady hand.
I agree, yeah.
I went back and looked at your photography too, and I kind of noticed that in the beginning it was just really traditional, like fisheye with off-camera flashes, and then it sort of, you like started shooting film and digital, but your photos were more like photojournalistic, and there weren't like flashes in them. It was just sort of available light, and it wasn't traditional riding photos. Did you have anything that inspired that change, or was it just a natural progression?
I think it was more or less a natural progression. I mean, I don't have a fisheye anymore, so I don't shoot fisheye photography, and that probably stopped me. Because I still enjoy like shooting those photos, because I think scootering needs like quality, like magazine style looking photos. But I still enjoy like shooting the lifestyle photos that like show more of the scootering and what it has outside of just the trick.
I always wrestled with that too because most of the photography work I do is about scootering, and yeah, it was always hard to figure out a way to not document the tricks, or document the tricks in a certain way that was timeless and wasn't really dated. So yeah, I decided to shoot it in sort of like a photojournalistic style. If someone is looking at a photo series about scootering, the more like universal images are just those lifestyle photos, just showing what it's really like in these moments in downtime from riding and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think so. I think it would appeal to the audience outside of scootering more or less.
Do you have any interest in other art mediums besides, I guess, like capturing light, like with photo and video?
I draw. I've done a lot of graphic drawing, I guess. I've been drawing on paper since I couldn't remember. So I've been doing that a lot, and I've been doing graphic work. So I try to do that. I've been doing a lot of stuff for Outset Select recently, and I'm trying to continue to do that.
I wanted to talk about your digital illustrations. What inspired you to do those?
One day I drew Josh, actually, just like I found out that I could use a tool on Photoshop, and I just tried it, and it came out really sick. So I just started like doing my friends that I had taken photos of and started drawing them. And then I like started to try to expand out of that and like do things that were like punny and catchy and kids like found humorous.
When I saw them come out, it was cool because they were just so different, and I mean, especially the puns. I remember just looking at those and just thinking like, wow, this could be an ad for a scooter company. You know what I mean? Like it'd be. I'm trying to think of like what company it could be like in scootering. I don't know. I guess something just like Skate Mental and skateboarding, or just they do a lot of funny like satire ads and stuff like that.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Were there any artists that inspired you to do those illustrations, or was it just sort of like finding that thing in Photoshop and then experimenting with it?
I mean, I had seen art before, I guess, so that kind of inspired me to like had that idea in my mind maybe, but I never realized I could like do it until I found the tool on Photoshop.
Do you use a tablet or do you use a mouse?
I use a mouse and I like draw the shapes and I adjust them as I go.
Okay. Have you ever thought about using a tablet?
Yeah, a long time ago I had a tablet
Mm-hmm.
and I like would scan drawings in and like color them. So I did that like a long time ago, like maybe when I was in ninth grade, 10th grade.
Yeah, I don't know. Like a lot of people really do not like tablets at first, but I feel like once you get used to them, they're just you can work so fast. Like I use a tablet to retouch all my film scans. It's pretty helpful. But what is that process that you're talking about in Photoshop? Like how do you do it?
So I use the pen tool
Yeah.
and I make shapes. So I kind of like go by the shades of a photograph or whatever I'm doing to make the object more dimensional.
Mm.
So I'm taking like small shapes and making the photograph or the image by like changing the colors of everything and making it different shades, and it's a process. It would take like 6 hours sometimes to do a drawing, maybe longer, a couple days, depending on how intricate it is.
Yeah, I can totally see that. Yeah, I always wondered like what you were doing, like if you were like tracing it and then simplifying it or doing it from scratch or what. But I guess that makes sense. What about the sort of fictional drawings, like things that like do you do everything off photographs? Like I remember that like Batman and Robin one. How did you do that?
I kind of just like look at like once I have like a scooter image that I know I can like base it off of, I like try to like kind of like look at like the characters and see the colors that they're wearing and see like how I could draw their cape or whatever I drew. That stuff's definitely more freehand, but I always use like a photo, either Kong shot that he posted on Facebook that I can find that's like the perfect image,
Hmm.
but and I'll just change it.
Yeah, I can imagine that Kong has an absolute archive of material for you to choose from off Facebook. I've heard about his albums with thousands of photos in them.
Yeah, they're pretty nice. I know he doesn't like post the good ones, but there's always something in there.
I was with him in Vermont about a week ago, and he wasn't taking as many photos as usual. He was still definitely taking photos, but I don't know. I think he was trying to ride a lot. So talking about like the illustrations and the graphic design and stuff, I guess we could talk about your involvement with Lumen and how you own it now, right?
I honestly don't remember when we started. I was in high school. I think I was a senior. And James like messaged me on Instagram asking me if I wanted to help out with the graphic and kind of assembling the team of writers, I guess you could say. So I initially started helping him with the first line after he dropped like a few pocket tees. And he like automatically wanted to pick up Mike and Joe. So they got on and we started from there, and he's super smart. He sewed everything himself. He got the prints done himself. He was doing most of the screen printing until we got bigger, and then he was having Sam Anderson, a kid from Pennsylvania. He lives outside of Pittsburgh. He grew up with Mike. He works in a screen printing shop, and so he was screen printing all our shirts for us after that and sending them to Forefront, and Forefront was distributing Lumen for a while. I was doing most of the graphic work for like a long time, all of it. I helped put the site together. I was doing the Instagram. And then after Chicago, James hit me up. After Chicago 2 years ago, James hit me up and said that he has too much to work on. He's got college and stuff. So he can't like be responsible for Lumen anymore. And I was like, well, I don't really want to see it die. I really want to try to make it happen. So he said that I could have ownership of the company. And I've been like working so much. I tore my ACL, so I had to get surgery, and that costed a fortune. And that like really put me behind on like getting Lumen where I wanted to get it. But I just moved to Colorado Springs, and I'm trying to get that started here. That's like my main goal. I'm not really gonna like get a full-time job. I'm gonna try to get work doing graphic stuff, and if I have to, I'll get like a part-time job. But Lumen is like my main focus at this point.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, I remember Josh had that part for it, and it was great.
Yeah, it was so good.
Yeah, that definitely is stuck in my mind. I think there's room for apparel companies in scootering. I just don't think that a lot of people have figured out how to do it right, because I think there's money to be made, but you just have to figure out the quantities, the like varieties of sizing. I think that's what kills a lot of people. They'll do like 10 t-shirts and then they're like, oh shit, we have to stock sizes small to XL in all of these shirts, and then those shirts aren't selling. You could be successful if you just make a couple products that people want to buy and make sure that you'll sell through all of your stock. That's what happened with boxes. They just made all these just bullshit t-shirts, like designs that some of them were cool, but just other designs that was like, they just whipped it up and it was like, here we go, we're going to sell it. And then it's like, oh, well,
Not a lot of people were hyped.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, well, not only does that shirt exist, but like small through XL or 2XL exist in that, and you have a whole warehouse full of them. I think that's one of the major reasons that failed.
You definitely have to like appeal to the general audience, and you have to know like what people are into at a certain time, and you definitely don't want to just make something random. You want it to have a purpose. And you can't just do a t-shirt company anymore at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think what Kirk was doing was heading in the right direction, but then the same thing happened to him as the person that owned Lumen. He went to college and he couldn't focus all his time on it, which is understandable. Yeah, it sucks because I think I can't think of, maybe boxes, but I think Satori was one of the best apparel companies video-wise. Like the video parts they put out from when they were first in business till the end were probably some of the best stuff. I mean, it was comparable to like actual scooter companies, you know?
Yeah, definitely. They put out videos that vibed completely.
I don't really talk to Kirk at all because he's in Portland, but
I saw Kirk just this past week.
Yeah, he'll text me sometimes, but it's just like he lives so far and probably not going to go there that it's so hard to stay in touch. Yeah, I don't know if he has plans to do it again after he graduates or what. I mean, he definitely, you could tell he had a vision, and that was, I guess that was what attracted me to like want to ride for it. Do you have any other female influences, such as skateboarders or anyone else?
Not like when I started scootering. I think now that the scene in skateboarding is growing, I like follow more girl skateboarders and try to see what they're doing and like the style that they have. But I was always watching boys ride. I was never watching girls ride. I knew who Jess Bolin was growing up, and that was it. And I don't think I've influenced my riding off her whatsoever. It's more or less like the guys in the sport.
Have you ever watched Lacey Baker skate? I like her skating a lot.
I watched her new video, her Nike video that was filmed in New York. That was really good. I like her style a lot.
Yeah, I remember one of the first times I met you, I think, I kind of asked you the same question in person, and you were like, no, there's no girl scooter riders that have good style. Like, they all have bad style. I just remember being like, damn, like, she really just has no hope for females in scootering. Do you think that's changed? I mean, I know there's female scooter riders, but you're the only female street scooter rider I can think of. Is there anyone else?
I think because of Instagram, there's more girls like trying to get that image because they see the reaction that it gets. People are into the street scooter riding to an extent, I guess you could say. Eva Campbell, she has a street style. She's really good, actually. I consider her better than me. She shreds, but I don't know if she has any like interest in filming a full like street video part.
Uh-huh. And where's she from?
She's from Nashville, Tennessee, or Franklin, right outside of Nashville. She rides Tristan Miller's local, but she was living in New Mexico. She came to the Austin Jam.
That bus trip that Tilt is going on this summer, we're gonna go directly. We're gonna stay in Nashville and we're gonna ride there.
Yeah, that's what Tristan was saying.
Yeah,
you gotta be careful. I don't wanna ride Nashville ever. I don't think.
Why?
Because the cops there. It's just like Parrish got arrested for scootering there, so that's not safe. And Tucson has had like so many like bad run-ins with cops there. They're pretty strict about scootering in their city. You probably find outskirt spots. There's like some big spots in Chattanooga, I know. A really big handrail. Isaac would definitely be down for.
I guess we would just have to be sort of mindful of the areas we're in. I guess if we're directly in the heart of downtown.
Be respectful. Don't go around the building and ride another spot at the same building.
Like back to when you were saying that, well, at the time, no female scooter riders had good style. And you said you wanted to be the first female rider to put out like a good street part. I mean, obviously you still have that desire, right?
Yeah, I'm like working on it more now than ever, I think.
Yeah, I think it's going to be great. Yeah, I guess with all the injuries and stuff.
Yeah, that stuff's been putting me back on hold for a little bit.
When I was in college for photography, I'd always show my my scootering work, and all my teachers would just be like, "Oh, it's such a boys' club. Like, where are the females at?" And I'd always go, "There's only one," and her name is Olivia. She's the only one. How does it feel sort of being, do you ever, I mean, I think I already know the answer to this, but you probably feel completely natural, right?
Yeah, I don't feel like different around, I feel more awkward around girls than I do guys at this point.
Yeah.
It just is more fitting.
When I see female skateboarders, I feel like the clothes they wear is just kind of like men's styled clothes, but slightly tighter. But you wear like actual like very female looking clothes. You know what I mean? Which I think is sick because it's like you're not adopting this male culture. You know what I mean? Like all these male just like jeans and a t-shirt. Did you ever sort of think about that, or is that just kind of like what you wanted to wear?
It's just like what I want to wear. I mean, I never really wanted to wear like men's clothing. I mean, I wear skateboard shirts and scootering shirts a lot, but I try to just be different in my style all the way around, scootering and outfits.
It was hard to find like recent footage, so I went on your Instagram and there were like all these clips of you in overalls. I was like, oh, sick. Like that, like those are sick.
Yeah, I'm hyped on the overalls for sure.
I have a pair of overalls, but I don't know. They're not like shorts overalls. They're like long, and they're so baggy. I just wear them when I'm working on my motorcycle. But I don't know. I mean, I've seen some people get skate clips in overalls.
Yeah, I've seen the craziest people wear the craziest outfits in skateboarding nowadays. It's so sick. It's so sick.
It's just like a runway show down the sidewalk with some ollies.
It is. Like, it's more about what the person is wearing and less about like the crazy trick they're doing now, I feel like.
Yeah.
I don't know how they present themselves in the video.
Are you comfortable talking about all the weight you lost?
Sure.
Okay. Yeah, because I remember just because I don't really have like Instagram or anything, so I don't really check it. I remember just seeing you like going to Florida. I think it was when Tristan was there.
Yeah.
And I went there. I was like, whoa! Like, how did you do it? Was it just diet and exercise?
I stopped eating meat, and that was a big factor, I'm sure, because it like helped regulate how much food I was intaking. But then I started riding my bicycle like 25 miles a day, and that helped a lot.
What was it? Just sort of like for scootering? One day were you just like, I don't.
Went on the long trip to Cali, and I was like really starting to become comfortable on my scooter, but I still had a lot of weight, and I just like felt like I knew I could be that much better if I didn't have all that weight on me. So I just like pushed myself to change.
Yeah, I can imagine. It must be I mean, you can just jump so much higher and stuff when way less. Like, how long did it take? Because it seemed pretty quick.
It seemed, yeah, it was like a year, I think.
Oh, was it?
It didn't take long.
Okay.
Yeah, I like must have bought so many pairs of pants that year. I dropped 16 pant sizes. I went from like a size 16 to a 0.
Damn, that's wild. So, I mean, whoever is just like, oh, it's hard to lose weight, but really, it's just diet and exercise. And
yeah, it definitely is.
It's not even some crazy formula. It's just, and not like killing yourself either. It's just like exercise briefly per day and don't eat awful, and then it'll happen.
Exactly. It was very like simple. Working at McDonald's definitely made me like want to not eat meat. I think.
Yeah.
I want to go full plant-based.
You should. Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
Parrish and I were talking about. Honestly, I feel like dairy is worse for you than meat. Like there was a while, well, I definitely wasn't eating meat, but I was still eating dairy. But I would just eat completely vegan at home because I would just grocery shop. And then the rare times I would eat out and get cheese, I would just eat it and
You'd
feel
feel like shit after.
yeah, I felt like I was dying. Like I could just feel the cheese in my stomach, like just trying to get through, and it was having a hard time. Yeah, I think it's definitely worth it. You feel even lighter, like and you have more energy too.
Yeah.
But and nowadays it's not even really hard to do, even if you eat out.
There's plenty of places that offer those options. And you can
Yeah,
opt out of cheese very easily.
yeah. I mean, it's just being influenced by money. Like if there's a demand for it, then companies are going to offer. They're going to offer alternatives. Your knee injury, I guess from start to where you're at now.
2015 in the fall, and I was riding a tall flat bar someone brought to pain switch, and I was trying to do like a hanger on it, switch dance, and I did it, and then I had to do it better, so I came back and I like just came off wrong, and my knee like bent side to side. There's actually a video of it on Instagram. I like scootered for 3 months after that, thinking that I didn't do anything really wrong to it, but every time I would like put my foot down, it would like do the same shit, bend, and then my knee would swell up and I wouldn't be able to walk. So I like finally went and saw a doctor and got an MRI, and I had torn my ACL, my meniscus, and my MCL. I had to wait another like 3 months to get my surgery because of insurance. I got my surgery in March, and I like started scootering again in like late August of 2016, and I've been like slowly trying to recover since, and I'm pretty back at my riding, maybe better than I was, other than I'm a little scared to hit rails more than I was. But I recently tore my meniscus again in my knee, but I'm still riding, and the doctor said I don't need surgery unless it's like killing me, so I'm just like pushing along right now.
How did you tear your meniscus again? And was it because it was weak or just?
I think my knees are weak. I have not like definitely like regained the strength in my legs that I should have. So I think because of it being weak, I just bailed off my scooter wrong. And I don't know if I did it like way back because I've had problems where my knee felt weird before, but I had finally gotten it checked out because of how easy I had like messed it up. But I haven't had a real problem in a few months, and I've been stacking footage since. So it's not that big of a deal right now.
Yeah, I didn't know. I thought it was only your ACL because there's no other ligament in your knee that was even connecting the lower part of your leg to the upper part of your leg, right?
Yeah.
Like there's nothing else, right? The ACL, MCL, and meniscus, that's it.
Yep.
Wow,
Yep.
that's crazy.
It was pretty bad. And I was like working on it, like doing like hard manual labor at McDonald's the whole time. It was pretty crappy. Right after surgery, I quit that job, and I said I was not going back to that. And I got a job at a sign shop doing graphic design.
Who was I talking to? I think it was Parrish. I don't know if this is true. I didn't really believe it, but he said that women are more likely to tear their ACLs. Is that, have you heard that?
Yeah, my doctor said it's like 8 out of 10 or something crazy like that.
Well, why is that?
I'm not sure the exact reason. Probably because our legs aren't as strong. Like, we don't have the like muscle in our calves and in our thighs to support our knees.
So that doesn't have anything to do with recovery then, right?
I wouldn't say it has anything to do with recovery.
Mm-hmm.
I'm worried about my other knee, like doing something to that. Hopefully, I can just get stronger than I am now.
Couldn't you do like squats or something? Or is that the right exercise?
Yeah, I do like at home exercises, but I just moved, so I'm gonna get a gym membership, and I think I'm gonna just work on using machines that help improve my legs in a like more prominent way.
Yeah, that was another thing I forgot to mention when we were talking about the weight loss. I think it's pretty amazing how, I don't know how much, but it seems like scootering isn't really that much of a workout. Like you're not gonna I don't know, be that in shape from scootering, even if you scooter all day long every day. It's like you have to do some sort of supplemental, like
No, definitely.
like riding a bike. But it's weird because it's like you're out there and you're pushing so hard and like you're sweating so much, but somehow you're not really getting a workout. I never understood it.
You're only using like specific muscles when you scooter.
Yeah.
So you just get a full like cardio workout when you're like pumping a bicycle for like 25 miles for a few hours a day.
Yeah. Yeah, the bicycle I think is great for scootering. I ride my bicycle, I ride my road bike, and then I ride my mountain bike sometimes too, and I think that definitely helps. Just like if people just kind of thought of it, they were like, "Oh, well how do people jump high or something like that?" It's just like it's a muscle. Like you have to you have to work it out and then that's how you jump. Like imagine if scooter riders went to the gym and did all these leg exercises. They could jump like head high, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Instead of
yeah,
just this sort of like mystery formula, like how do you jump high? I don't know. Like you just do it.
yeah. I mean, it's definitely a thing. Professional skateboarders have like personal trainers who help them daily gain muscles to help push them in their sport. And I
Mhm.
think it's vital to help get a exercise routine that helps your scootering.
And it's also such a fine line because it's like I feel like a lot of people, if you were just hitting the gym so hard for scootering, they'd be like, man, that person is just such a kook. You know what I mean? So
Maybe, yeah.
it's like
If you're
you have to be this premier sort of athletic person, but not work out.
keep your cool but still be strong.
Yeah, you just have to work out in the middle of the night when nobody's looking or something. And just gain these secret muscles. How is it being in a relationship with a scooter rider?
It's nice, I guess. I don't consider like being in a relationship with a scooter rider. I'm in a relationship with Todd. He's like my best friend. It's nice, I guess, because I'm always at the spots, but we're always together. So sometimes we like bicker at each other or whatever, but it's always nice. We have a good balance between us when we're scootering together and filming each other and doing whatever we need to do.
Since there's not many girl scooter riders, it's hard to think of people like being in a relationship and scootering together. You know what I mean? It's like it's like uncharted waters.
Yeah, and I'm not like that girl you just bring to the skate park and she sits there.
Yeah, which is sick because it's like it's almost like if you're in a relationship and you just want a scooter, it's like there's not many people that just want to go to a skate park and sit in the grass and watch you every single day. So, I mean, it sounds pretty ideal, but
Yeah, it's nice.
yeah, but unfortunately, you're the only one. It's not like there's a plethora of people to choose from out there.
Yeah, not really.
Yeah. How did you like because you knew Todd for years, like how did that even happen?
It kind of just happened. It's been 2 years since we started talking almost. We've been together for a year and a half now.
Yeah, I mean, I guess like you guys moved out to Colorado, so you're pretty committed.
Yeah, yeah, pretty committed. We're gonna try to like buy a van and then go across the US.
Yeah, you're like the scooter power couple because because you're like you can both ride well and you can also film, so it seems pretty unstoppable.
It's fun. I like it. I'm hyped to be in Colorado and out of Florida. Can't tell you how much I'm hyped to be out of Florida.
Can you think of a story about Michael Hohmann, just something funny or crazy he's done over the years?
Here's a story that no one will know about him because this was when I first met him. Mike used to wear his helmet like all the time. All the time. We would go into the mall one day and we were coming from the skate park and his helmet was on in the car and I'm like, Mike, are you gonna take your helmet off? And he's like, why? And I'm just, because we're going into the mall, Mike. He's like, nah. And we just got this huge argument about him like wanting to take his helmet off, but he wouldn't take his helmet off. He walked in the mall with his helmet on, walked around with his helmet on. It was just as bad as his headphones.
Yeah, I don't know. He just got something with keeping things on.
Yeah, and now he won't put a helmet on his head. And he cracked his forehead in Colorado, like, 2 years ago. Rode in the street jam with cracked skull with no shoes on.
Yeah, what made him take his helmet off? Like, why did he stop riding with one? Just his riding style changed?
I think, like, realizing what it looks like. I mean, he has so many edits on YouTube of him in his helmet, like riding street spots, riding everything in his helmet.
Yeah, it must have been like the first time he encountered a mirror or something. Just like, oh, okay, well this is no good anymore.
But yeah, Mike's a character. He gets crazy. Stories that you would have to ask him because he does the most craziest things on his trips that he goes on for 6 months of the year that I'm like have no part of, that like are just like so wild that I hear about, and it's just
Yeah, the riding street thing with the helmet is a weird thing. I remember there was a crew from Canada. I think it was called the Kooky Crew. Do you know?
yes, yes.
Yeah, who was that? He was like the younger guy on there, but he was so sick.
He
But
ripped.
yeah, but he just had a helmet in every single clip. It was like, man, I just like it was almost like it was so good, but then I was just so conflicted of how to feel because it's like, God, you're just wearing a helmet in this whole video.
You never know. His parents might have made him wear it. This kid that we rode with in Lakeland had like over 5 concussions. So like his mom, like, he had to wear a helmet.
In BMX now, that's like that's a big thing that people wear helmets. And whenever I see BMXers, I ask them if it's whack or not, and most of them say that it's not whack. I'm like, really? Like riding street with a helmet is not whack in BMX? And I guess it's acceptable in BMX. I don't think it's acceptable in scootering.
No, I don't. I think you could avoid hitting your head if you like know how to bail, unless you're doing flips. But we're usually not doing those in street scootering.
Yeah, I was actually when I was in Vermont, Mancong hit his head and like cut it open and was bleeding.
Oh,
But I mean, he was totally fine. Like it was just a cut.
yeah,
But you bleed so much from your head.
you do.
But yeah, that's another weird thing. How I think people. I mean, I myself would much rather get a head wound or like have the chance to have a head wound than have footage with a helmet on, which seems absolutely like for anybody who is not scootering, they'd think I was like suicidal or something. It's like yeah, absolutely. I would much rather prefer to like knock my head and have a concussion or like cut it open or have brain damage than have a clip with a helmet on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it's pretty illogical, but I don't know. I guess that's just how it is. Do you have any Jona stories?
I just like really rode with Jona. We hung out and stuff, but I never went to a party with Jona or anything. And he usually landed all his tricks like very fast, or he like ate shit. Like would rack or like break his ankle or hurt his shoulder, or he'd like land the trick very fast. That's how it was like with Jona.
I mean, I've had a similar experience with him. I've just seen him fall so hard. I'd always like be like, man, you need to learn how to fall. Like you need to learn how to roll.
I must have like 6 racks just in the past like year from him, and that would be it for the day.
Yeah, he is really consistent and can get things really quick. But if he doesn't, then yeah, he just falls so hard.
He still shreds. Like I don't think people really realize how good he still is.
Yeah, I realize it. But I think it's like, oh, you haven't posted a clip on Instagram in 3 days? You must be on meth, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
You must just be a crackhead on the streets. Like if you haven't done a 270 downside whip lip on a handrail every 3 days at the skate park.
The Bayhead flat bar.
Yeah, the Bayhead fly out to flat bar. That's one hell of a thing.
It is one hell of a thing. I think that skate park helped Jona with rails more than anything.
Yeah, because you turn into like a plane. You're just gliding in for landing on the rail.
Like Mike's bar twists into rails, like that was definitely the rail he learned them on.
Oh yeah, for
like,
sure. Yeah, multiple people have gotten crazy on that thing. I just want to see like a backflip to board or something.
I think Bry flip board slide's more likely on it than a backflip board slide.
Yeah, Blake Baylor could do that for
I
sure.
tried getting Blake to do one, but
He was
he
there?
wasn't down in Texas.
Oh, in Texas? Okay.
No, in Texas.
Yeah, I remember Tyler FaceTimed me one time and Blake was on the call and yeah, I guess Blake's living out in LA doing it. But yeah, I remember but years ago when he was like, well, I guess he still is on Lucky, but when it was like the older Lucky, he dropped out of college and then he just moved to California. I mean, not really moved. He just went and stayed at Tyler's house and didn't buy a return ticket. He's like, man, I'm a pro scooter rider. Like I just got to live out here and do it. And then like a month into it, he's like, oh, okay, like this is how much rent is and this is how much food is and I can't do this. And I was like, yeah, no shit, man. Like pro scooter riders aren't pro scooter riders. They're just like, I don't know. They're just like volunteers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, somehow he's doing it now, which is good.
Yeah, I know. I think he's been riding more than he has been. Definitely.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the older guys have been trying to come back and start scootering more now than they were.
Because also it's like they're not even physically, they're not even old. Like they're perfectly able-bodied to.
Yeah, definitely.
It's like, but it is this weird place we're at where anybody that's over 20 years old and still scooters they're like pioneers because nobody's done it before. So it's like it's really uncertain.
Yeah.
That's how it was in like the 90s in skating. Like if you're 25, it seems like you're so old, but then it was like, oh wait, like you're perfectly able to be physically capable to do things when you're that age. So I think it'll be okay.
Yeah, I think people will be scootering for a while. Even like I plan on not stopping for as long as my body lets me.
Yeah, speaking of that, the next story I want to ask you about is Brian Noyes, which I hear he claims he's going to scooter until he's 80 years old.
We're driving home from scootering all day. Brian is driving his car and I'm driving my car, and I think he was behind me, and he ends up getting pulled over for something that we have no idea what yet. So we're like chilling for like an hour and nothing happens, and then more cops show up to his car, and like everybody was in his car, and he ended up going to jail because he had like fake Florida plates. So we were up until like 4 a.m. to like have to get Brian out of the Orlando jail because of his fake plates.
Were they actually like fake, or did they just not?
They were like real plates, but not his name.
So how did he get them? Like he just took them off somebody's car?
I think someone gave them to him.
Okay.
Brian's a rebel. Now he doesn't drive. He literally like sleeps in, I'm pretty sure, until like 1 p.m. and then like goes scooters around Orlando all day. Like isn't working right now. He's supposed to get a job because he's supposed to meet up with Mike for their trip at some point in the summer. But Mike has already started his leg of his 6-month endeavor into the United States.
Yeah, that's crazy how they do it. Where is Mike at right now?
Mike's with us. So
okay.
we like have been filming from like Florida to Texas, and we're gonna like hit Denver over the next 2 weeks, and then we're flying to New York. I'm gonna be there for a week, me and Todd, and then he's gonna go on his separate ways.
I feel like whenever I go to New York, it's either in the fall or the spring, and the weather is always pretty bad. It's usually like really hit or miss, and I haven't been there in the summer in so long.
I went in the summer a lot before I tore my ACL, and it was pretty hot, but I just went this past year to try to like kind of ride. It actually like blizzarded the time I was there.
Mm-hmm.
It was crazy. I've never seen snow in my life, and I go to New York in the biggest blizzard of the year.
Oh yeah, that reminded me. I remember when the last time I was in New York was in March, and you were there like a week before, and I heard that you got in a really crazy accident when you were in an Uber.
I got like Shins tickets like the day of the concert, and that was the day of the blizzard, and I think that's why like there was tickets available because it was sold out before. So we went to that, and it was like a Lyft. It wasn't necessarily an Uber, but it was one of those things. And we were driving home, and that guy was driving crazy, like going way more fast than he needed to go on like icy roads. And we took a corner, and the car just like spun 180 degrees, hit the snow pile, and flipped over.
Wow, it flipped upside down?
Yeah, flipped upside down. It was one of the craziest things I've ever been in my life. And luckily, like, I don't know if we were all like kind of prepared. It was me and my brother and my mom in the back seat because he was driving crazy. So I was like already grasping onto the handle on like the side of the car, like before we even got in the accident. So I just like held myself up the whole time. We were able to like climb out the side of the door into the freezing ass snow. It was so cold. And then like luckily there was like an ambulance that saw us. So they like helped us out, and like an NYPD had to like help us get to like their police station and then like get us a taxi back to my mom's apartment.
So did you tell him when he was driving crazy? Did you say anything?
Yeah, we definitely said something to him like, yo, slow down.
Yeah.
Like, these guys are like looking at their phone trying to figure out where they're trying to go. It definitely like makes me not ever want to get in one of those again, but like I end up probably will be in the summer. It will be safer. There won't be any ice on the ground.
Yeah. What kind of car was it?
It was a like Camry, I think, something like that.
Okay,
like
so it was a
Toyota
small
Camry.
car.
Yeah,
Did you open the window and crawl out?
the door, I think, on my brother's side of the car was able to, and we had to like really help the driver get out. He was more smushed in there, but he was all right. But
So everybody was fine?
yeah, I think I ended up breaking my knuckle, but I didn't like realize it until after
Okay.
because I like still have a little bit of problems. Nothing like too bad, I guess.
Did the airbags go off?
I think in the front, yeah, not in the back.
Yeah, because a lot of times that's where like you
get struggled.
you get injured from the airbags like
Yeah.
hitting you in the face. Yeah, that's crazy that you were upside down. I mean, I can't imagine like being buckled in and then you're upside down and you have to like.
We weren't buckled in.
Oh, you
and
weren't?
I think that almost like helped.
Oh.
Like not being buckled in, like as crazy as that sounds. Like we were all tight in the back seat, but I think that helped. It was definitely like the craziest thing that's ever happened to me.
When you got upside down, were you somehow still squished so you were just like hanging upside down, or did you just fall out of the seat?
Yeah, you're pretty much like upside down still. Like you're holding the roof.
Oh yeah.
And like
okay.
I'm just like, are you guys okay? I'm like asking my mom, like, are you okay? Please tell me you're okay, Mom. Like, all right, let's get out of here.
Yeah. I've never actually like had the Uber app and gotten one, but I've been with like, and I probably have been in an Uber 2 or 3 times, I think. So I don't really have much experience with it. I don't know. I guess I don't really have much of a need for it, at least in like Ohio. And I feel like probably, I don't know, like 70% of Uber is just funded by drunk people trying to get home. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
I'm like never drunk trying to get home. So that's probably one of the main reasons I've never really done the Uber thing. It seems so long ago, but I think it was only last Street Jam at Chicago. We were all at like Alec Bax's party he has every year. Spencer, Steed, and Tommy Dodano, and like their whole crew, like the whole Sky High and Outset crew. And they were trying to get back to where they were staying from the party, so they ordered an Uber XL. And it was this big, what was it? It was like an Escalade or like a Suburban or something like that. Like I think it seriously had maybe 8 seats, and we had even more. I think we had 10 people. And Spencer ordered it, and then he just asked the dude, is it cool if we all just get in here? And the guy was like, yeah, whatever, I don't care. So we had 2 people in the trunk, and then Spencer sat shotgun, and he was just trying to be like super cool with the guy. He was like talking to him and stuff. He's like, yeah, he was like, hey man, you smoke weed? And the driver was like, yeah, I smoke weed. And he's like, oh, you want to smoke some weed right now? And the driver's like, no, dude, I'm driving and working like for Uber. I'm not going to smoke weed right now. And Spencer's just like, okay. I think he was just trying to get something really crazy to happen, but it didn't really pan out. Like all those people I mentioned, like to see if you had stories about them, were sort of the main people I could think that people really cared about from Florida. Do you have any stories of anybody else in Florida that you can think of, like Joe or Todd or Chandler or? Oh, and also, do you want to maybe talk about when Chandler burned his house down?
But like the basis of that was like him and Marcus were like making melting wax in their oven or something stupid as hell. Like really just not smart.
And by you mean just like regular like wax to wax ledges, right?
Yeah, I think so. Like just like candle wax or something. And they left the oven on and something caught fire and they burnt the whole kitchen down pretty much.
Do they still have that entire house? I mean, I know they moved, but was it the entire house or just the kitchen?
I think it was like mainly the kitchen, but it could have like caught. I'm pretty sure it was mainly the kitchen, but they moved out of that house after that,
Yeah.
like into a new house. They moved. Chandler lived in two different houses while we were hanging out with Chandler until he moved to Indiana.
Yeah, Chandler only lives like an hour and a half or 2 hours away from me.
Chandler lives in the middle of
Yeah,
nowhere.
I know. Like he just lives on like the Ohio Indiana border. I remember the only time I've ever ridden with him since he has lived there, we were in Cincinnati and he just came to Cincinnati and like kind of met up with us later in the day and we were just riding around downtown and then we went to this really big handrail. I don't know. I think it was like 14 handrail or something like that. And it was like he was just fresh out of the car, like hadn't even done a tail up on flat ground, and he was trying to hit it, and he just tried to lip slide it, like no hesitation. Like he just went up and tried it a couple times, and he was falling, and then one time he like landed it perfectly, and his fork just completely snapped and like exploded. And then after that he was like, well, I guess like I gotta drive home, and then he just drove home, and that was it because he couldn't even ride his scooter around with us. I felt so bad for him.
Yeah, he told me it took he has this like hookup with Jake Hershey. I wouldn't say, I guess he's flow for Chris, but he says he's flow, but I don't know how much it is. But it took like Jake like months to send him a new fork, so he just didn't scooter for those months after that.
Yeah, what was because I remember that the fork he had was just some like bullshit neochrome fork. Was it a crisp one?
It probably was crisp, I would
Yeah,
assume.
because I remember looking at it and just being like, of course that fork snapped. Like, why would you? Man, it is.
Yeah, I don't understand why like he rides the parts he rides when he doesn't really get the support from the company.
Yeah, at that point, it's like if you're working, it's like, man, just buy stuff that's not gonna break.
Yeah, exactly.
So you said there was a story about Joe in Miami?
We like went to Miami. I think Smuckle was even there. I guess this was in 2015 probably too. And we're at those like famous like handrails that are like concrete, you know,
Yeah,
in
and some of
Miami.
them have chains on them.
And Joe like is trying to whip lip on the rail and he was getting really close, but one time he like didn't get his scooter all the way over and he went like face first and then shoulder and ended up like screwing up his shoulder, so I had to leave the session, be his mom at the hospital the whole day. He ended up breaking his collarbone in a few places and having to get surgery on his collarbone. And that was like one of the gnarliest things Joe's ever done.
Did he get that surgery there in Miami?
No, he had to, like, his dad ended up having to drive all the way up to Miami and picking him up, or down to Miami, not up. And then he got surgery in Sarasota.
Okay. Yeah, the collarbone is a weird thing because it's so easy to break. It seems like if you hit it at the right place.
Yeah, just at the right spot. Ben Reed, who used to live here, broke his collarbone as well, doing like a nose manual, I think.
Yeah, that makes sense. I remember I wasn't there, but I remember Tyler told me that. Do you remember that guy? I think it was Efron from like Riverside. Do you remember that guy?
I'm not. No,
I don't
I'm
think
not sure.
I don't think he's really had much footage, but like it was back in probably like 2013 or 2014. Like he'd always ride with Ralph and stuff, but they went on a trip to SF. Like they drove all the way there to the Heligrip house, and they stayed at the Heligrip house, and they got up like the first day to ride, and Efren did a tail whip flat in the parking lot and fell and broke his collarbone.
What?
Yeah.
What?
But that's the thing. Like, if you hit it at the right place, you can just break it so easy.
Yeah, yeah. That's
So
crazy.
so yeah, he was
Jeez. I've
he was
never heard of.
not he was not riding on that trip. I feel like with crews that are really successful and make a lot of videos, it's kind of it becomes this thing where they're so successful that each individual person in the crew is picked up by companies, and then they have all these obligations that they have to fulfill. And I think that happened with Florida Ride. It's like Hohmann is on TSI and Jona is on Tilt.
Brian's on TSI.
So it kind of like breaks up the crew. And I don't know if it's really good or bad, because it's like, I mean, from what you guys did, you guys were able to sort of come up and like have everybody get sponsored and stuff like that. But in turn, you can't really make these like friends videos anymore. How do you think about that?
It definitely sucks, like, not doing that, and I think that's like kind of like the drive for Lumen, because I still want like kind of the same basis of people on there, and that would give us that opportunity to make projects with the same people again. Obviously not with like some of the people who were a part of Florida Ride, but for most of them, that's like how it would be. I like filming video parts for people's companies, so that's never been an issue. We just go out doing the same thing, but filming for other stuff.
The people who are left, like who are still scooter riding, are sponsored, and then the people who aren't sponsored aren't really riding. You know what I mean? Like, does Joe still ride anymore?
Joe actually is ripping
Oh, is he?
it at the moment. I mean, we like have like a lot of VX footage that hasn't been since I got my VX 2 years ago. Other than some park stuff I've released, we have all of it saved.
Oh, that's good.
Mike, Brian, Todd, Joe all have at least 3 minutes of
Yeah.
footage. Like, I haven't seen Joe since August, and he took a 1 day bus ride from Colorado Springs to Austin, Texas to meet up with us. And he just like threw down at every spot.
Does he live in Colorado Springs now?
Yeah, that's like kind of our connection with moving here.
Okay. Does he just live out there by himself or what?
In August of last year, him and his dad sold their house because he's 18 now and still like doing high school. And they bought a house here in Colorado Springs. And his dad like is allowing us to stay here rent free, only pay for our food sort of deal. So had to take that opportunity to get out of Florida.
Yeah, that sounds great. Yeah, I was kind of wondering because Colorado Springs isn't really close to Denver, right?
It's like an hour.
Okay, yeah.
So it's like normal drive to Tampa for us.
Yeah. I was wondering what your plan with Colorado is. So I guess that kind of explains it. But so you aren't staying there permanently, or is that the goal, or what?
We'll see how I enjoy the winter, I guess.
Yeah.
Pan that one out because I've never really like been in a full-on winter.
Yeah.
I definitely want to see all the states and travel it by van. I think Todd has that same idea, so we'll just like kind of settle after that, figure out what we want to do. Whether we go back to Florida because it's the warmest, or we go to the West Coast, or we go upstate in the East.
When are you planning on doing the trip with the van? Is that like planned for this summer?
I'm trying to make it in a year, so not this summer.
Okay.
We're gonna stay here. I have things I want to do in scootering, obviously, before we leave. I'm starting Lumen, and I'm gonna make that happen. So, restarting it, and that's like my main goal. This first summer I'm here, to make that like back up and running 100%.
Yeah, I mean that's cool that you're gonna be riding with Joe again. I didn't even know that he moved to Colorado.
His park is crazy. It's like the most tranny skate park ever compared to Payne, and like it's so crazy. And I'm not into tranny, so it's like so hard.
Do you have an idea of what sort of van you would want to get for it?
Just like anything that we can renovate out.
Mm-hmm.
Because we're going to like put a bed in it and stuff. So I've looked at a few different models, but I haven't really got set in stone.
Yeah.
It's whatever works, whatever is going to make the trip the best, whatever is going to like give us the best gas mileage that isn't also going to cost us a fortune to buy.
Because that's like a whole movement going on right now, sort of millennials who don't want real jobs and just they just want to like live in vans.
Yeah.
So I bet, I mean, as far as like the technical side, I bet there's like just so many articles out there of like 10 best vans to
Oh yeah.
to do whatever in. Yeah, it sounds great. I mean, that's kind of what Tilt's doing right now with that school bus. It's gonna
Yeah,
be
with the bus.
Yeah, it's gonna be pretty crazy. I'm gonna go. Tom and I are the only ones who are gonna be on the trip the whole time,
Oh geez.
and then everybody else is gonna like fly in and out, sort of like as they're needed. But the main reason I want to be on the trip the whole time is because I'm gonna shoot. I'm gonna make photographs of the whole experience and then make a book out of it. So I just wanted to be there as much as I could.
Yeah, that's a really good idea. I can't wait to see what comes of that. It looks really awesome. I'm hyped that Tilt's doing something like that. More companies need to do like a US trip like that. And you guys are going to film for your SD video at the same time,
Yeah,
ideally, right?
yeah, we are. Yeah, we're totally gonna film for the full length, and then there's also gonna be. I mean, I'm totally fine with it. It's just gonna be different, but there's gonna be like actual demos and shop appearances, and like we're gonna go to Woodward and stuff like that. But
Woodward will be so sick. I
yeah,
want to go there so bad.
well, I mean, so I've been to the West Coast one before, and
That one's only all right. I've been there too.
yeah, I haven't been to. Yeah, that's the thing. We're going to the West one.
Oh, really? You're not going to East?
Nah, I wanted to go have the tour go east so bad, but Colin really wants us to connect with like all the various scooter communities where we're at, and there's just not that much of a scene on the East Coast of scooter riders.
Yeah, yeah, kind of. I like the East Coast scootering scene.
Yeah, like I don't even want to film anything west of Chicago, but I guess I don't really have that much of an option. I mean, it's a trip and I'll go on it, but I hate the way that California looks on film, but it'll be fine. But I mean, the thing about the East Coast is that the scene is sick and it's the sickest, but everybody is like over 20 or like 25, you know what I mean? Like they're not scooter kids that are going to buy scooter parts.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, I've never been to Woodward East. I would definitely do it. I remember Billy Stolsky and Nate Genrin told me that they're going to be counselors this month. In June, they're going to be counselors the whole entire month. And Nate was kind of like second guessing it because he's like, man, a month at Woodward? Like, I don't know if I can handle it. I think that'd be too much.
Yeah, Mike and Brian went for a long time, and they were saying that like 2 weeks is like probably like pushing it. But they have so much things to do there.
Yeah, the other thing too is like it's like, oh, you don't want a scooter? Why don't you like go kart, horseback ride, rock climb, swim? Like it's just you could.
There's so much stuff to do there.
Yeah,
And West was like, to me. Like I went a long time ago, and I'd love to go now because my scooter riding has like just gotten so much better since the last time I've been. So everything there would have been like that much more fun to ride. It just does not compare to the way East looks.
oh, absolutely. Yeah, because I mean the Woodward West is so much smaller, and it's just kind of like this oasis in the middle of a desert.
Yeah, it really is. It's like a out in the middle of nowhere.
That's all the questions I have. Do you want to just sort of wrap it up with a general summary of your future plans? I mean, I know you talked about it all throughout this episode, so we kind of have a good idea, but
So right now, like we're filming a lot of footage. Me, Mike, Joe, Todd, and then like anybody else that happens to be in front of my camera lens at the time. So we're filming like this crazy park video right now, and then I'm working on a part, and Mike's working on a crazy good part that might not come out for like another year, but it's going to be one of the best scooter videos to come out, I think. Just the way it vibes, everything about it. We've been really focusing on how everything is filmed and what tricks he does, and I'm really excited for that.
and then you're just planning on getting a van and driving it everywhere next year?
Driving everywhere, like staying hopefully with other scooter riders and still riding, not necessarily doing the millennial van experience, but doing the scooter rider van experience and meeting as much people as I can and hitting as many different spots as I can.
Yeah, I'll just let you know how things are going with the episode. But other than that, I guess I'll talk to you later.
Yeah, sounds good.
All right, see ya.
See ya.
So that was it for episode 3. I hope you enjoyed it. For the next episode, since I've been getting so many emails, probably more emails from people not in America, just lots of international emails. The next episode is going to be an international one, and I'm not going to say where and I'm not going to say who, but it's going to be someone that was extremely significant in scootering and definitely has a great story to tell. So just so you know, I'm just going to reiterate that the episodes come out on the last Friday of every month. So that's going to be the normal schedule, and just look for that. I will be going on a month and a half long trip after this month, but I'm going to crank 3 episodes out this month, which will be a lot of work, but I really want to keep these on schedule, and I really want to do them. I think they're important. So yeah, look forward to that. Once again, if you have any questions or suggestions, email thetandempod@gmail.com. I really appreciate all of you people who have emailed me, and I'm really open to talk about anything about the episode, about scootering, whatever. So yeah, email that. Thanks to Ben Bursell for the music and graphic design, and of course thanks to Olivia for being on the podcast. See you guys.